Based upon the proposal from the competition committee, Sean, they may. Because the fix, and only the NFL's competition committee can do this, Peter. There's a problem. There's a controversy. All right, we have to fix it. How do we fix it? Let's implement something that wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference if it had been in place in the first place. That's what the competition committee essentially has proposed. Expansion of replay review to cover fouls for pass interference, unnecessary roughness with a hit on a defensive receiver, or roughing the passer. It doesn't cover non-calls, which means it would have been meaningless if it was in place for the NFC Championship game. You can't make this stuff up. How could they get it so wrong, Peter? How can it be with Sean Payton on the competition committee that he didn't go Robert De Niro in The Untouchables and show up with a baseball bat to the competition committee meeting until he got what he wanted? What's going on here?
Usually, Mike, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, that, and I am in no way defending this because I agree with you, if you create a rule in response to possibly the wrong team going to the Super Bowl that doesn't address why the wrong team may have gone to the Super Bowl, why are you doing it? It's ridiculous. And Mike, you know, the only thing that I can say, and let's get out to Arizona and find out. I'll just tell you this, Mike. You'll have an interesting show on Monday. Okay, I'll predict that right now because you and I are going to be in the lobby of the Arizona Biltmore Hotel, maybe Saturday night, Sunday, walking around, finding people and saying, okay, excuse me, what's the real story? What happened? Tell us. So I think we're going to know more about what the real story is on Monday morning when they go in and start deliberating this in advance of a possible Wednesday vote.
Yeah, and there has to be something more than fear of unintended consequences, because that's what we've heard all along. Rich McKay was on with us at the Super Bowl. And look, I don't buy this. I think they use unintended consequences as a way to get around doing things they don't want to do, because they're the ones who are in position to spot the consequences that may be unintended and plan for them. The Sky Judge idea, Peter, I think is a perfect way to prevent situations like this. The AAF is using it. I think the NFL should at least experiment with it. If you're going to expand replay review, allow it to be available for non-calls as well. I don't know whether it's going to result in more flags being thrown. I could see that happen because you know you have the
Can I tell you about the Sky Judge, Mike? Mike, I'm going to tell you about the Sky Judge, okay? As we see a replay of the call we've seen 1,000 times. But here's the Sky Judge problem, okay? The way the NFL looks at it, to get the Sky Judge ready for this season, a different way of officiating football, okay, is a lot of off-season work. And so, you know, are they ready to do it? Not to mention the fact that there are 17 crews in the NFL. So you have to find 17 men to do this job, this Sky Judge job that's never been done before, and do it at mid-season level by Labor Day weekend. It's first of all, it's going to be very hard. But second of all, one of the things that I believe the NFL has the biggest problem with the Sky Judge is that because there aren't enough existing people to be Sky Judges, what they may have to do is dip into their minor league system. You know, go to the Pac-12 and get the best back judge, bring him up to be a back judge in the NFL, and take one of the best back judges in the NFL and make him a Sky Judge. In other words, those 17 Sky Judges that they would need to take some of them from existing officials on crews. So it would lessen the quality of the on-field crews right now. So I agree. The Sky Judge is a very interesting concept, but there are some unintended consequences with the Sky Judge that if you take some of your best officials off the field to be Sky Judges, does that make officiating worse anyway?
Peter, I got an easy fix for you. Think about the referees who have retired in recent years and haven't gone on to work in TV.
Do you really want Jeff Triplett to be a Sky Judge? Do you want Jeff Triplett to be a Sky Judge? Do you want Jeff Triplett
he's working for ESPN.
To have the control?
He's occupied.
Do you want Jeff Triplett to have control of a game at the end of a game? We've seen that movie, Mike.
Peter, here's the thing, though, and you made this point earlier. The commissioner has, I think, a vested interest in getting this fixed because, look, the next time this happens, and I've been saying this for the last 2 months, and I don't think anybody is taking this seriously, but they should. The next time something like this happens, and there is more legalized gambling than there currently is, at some point you reach a critical mass where Congress says, hey, Roger Goodell, you're coming to see us. We're going to have a committee meeting, and you're going to sit there in the Michael Cohen seat, and we're going to ask you question after question to find out why in the hell you haven't used your billions of dollars in resources to enhance officiating, to ensure that when hardworking Americans spend their hard-earned dollars on legitimate wagers, that they're not getting legitimate outcomes to their games. And I think that it is smart for the NFL to take care of their business before the Congress starts sniffing around in their business.
I mean, I guess so. You're more of a legal / conspiracy / gambling theorist than I am.
But that's not. But that's not a conspiracy theory. That's out in the open. They did it with concussions, and they will eventually do it with gambling.
It's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying that it isn't, but the NFL is or isn't. The NFL is not making decisions based on the fact that they believe that there is a danger of Roger Goodell being hauled before Congress to justify whether officiating is any good. Maybe they should, but I mean, I think you know what you're very good at. You're very good at seeing a half mile down the road. In this case, you're looking 68 miles down the road, and I think you're inventing something that isn't there.
Peter, I think what the NFL needs to be concerned about, if they don't improve their officiating and they don't ensure that they get these calls right, as people are betting their own money legally on these games and on the outcomes of these games, what the NFL needs to fear is the creation of a federal agency that would have oversight over the NFL, over Major League Baseball, over the NBA. All these sports leagues have a common vested interest in taking care of their own business before the NFL creates an SEC, not Southeastern Conference, Securities and Exchange Commission style of agency. Because, look, trading stocks is gambling. And there are layers and layers of regulatory protections for the average American. And this same thing is going to happen. It's a no-brainer. Look at which way the wind is currently blowing in Washington. It isn't going to take many elections to get to the point where you have a very active Congress that is over-regulating business. And the NFL needs to be concerned about, and that's the end. Look,
over-regulating business? Are you crazy? Are you watching Boeing right now? Are you watching the FAA and Boeing?
Exactly.
Oh, my God. They're not over-regulating business. It's going the other way. So, but hey, Mike, has Adam Silver sat in front of Congress to talk about Tim Donahue? No, he hasn't.
No, I mean, because gambling wasn't legal then.
So gambling is legal now. And so why isn't the NBA? There's 48 calls every night in the NBA where you say, why wasn't that called?
The NBA is not the NFL.
This does not rise to the level of Congress looking at it in any way, shape, or form.
It will. It will. And here's the thing, Peter. Here's my ultimate, and I don't know that this is a conspiracy theory. This is just cynicism run amok. I don't think Roger Goodell cares. I think he's rolling the dice on by the time that happens.
Well, he's not going to be in office by then. Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on.
So why should he care?
After the next CBA, he's gone anyway. So
remember the Paul Tagliabue.
Hey, Mike, and you have seen. Let me just make this point. You have seen this in the last year, the great disappearing act of Roger Goodell. You know, he used to be a flesh presser. You know, he used to be, hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? Roger Goodell has disappeared from the face of the earth. You know, and I think it's Roger Goodell basically saying, I'm going to do this contract, then I'm going to stop being on the front page of the New York Post 38 times a year as a dunce, and you guys can go find somebody else to be a dunce, and I'll be out of here. Because really, there's no other reason why Roger Goodell has disappeared from almost all public view in the last year. And it's because he's just tired of getting the crap beat out of him. And so, you know, to me, this is, I mean, I just look at this 3-4 years down the road. and John Doe is going to be the new commissioner of the NFL.
I agree with you completely, Peter. And it reminds me of when Paul Tagliabue was on his way out the door. They negotiated a very union-friendly CBA because I think Tagliabue just wanted to get it done and move on. And then the next thing you know, you have a lockout 5 years later. I think that once Roger Goodell decides I'm a short-timer and I'm just going to take care of these last couple of projects, get a new TV deal in place, get a new labor deal in place, I'm out of here. The next commissioner can deal with the impact of legalized gambling on a widespread basis and what it may mean for us, for Congress, for American citizens, and for everyone.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.